It was just past midnight when a soft knock echoed through the quiet neighborhood. The winter air was sharp, and the street lamps threw pale circles of light onto the thin blanket of snow. Daniel, a single father in his early 30s, was all ready. Standing outside his small rental house, his coat zipped up to his neck, a wool hat pulled low over his ears. He had been waiting for this knock all evening. Inside the house, his 6-year-old daughter Emma was asleep on the couch, clutching her worn-out teddy bear. Her chest rose and fell in the peaceful rhythm of childhood dreams, unaware of the tension that had been brewing all day. Daniel glanced at her through the front window before stepping forward to open the door. On the other side stood Claire, shivering in a thin jacket that barely kept the cold out. Her eyes were red, not from the biting wind, but from hours of crying. She was Emma's biological mother, someone who had walked out 3 years ago when life had become too heavy for her. She had left without much explanation, leaving Daniel to raise Emma alone. They hadn't seen each other since. Daniel's breath came out in a slow cloud as he took in her pale, trembling face. "You came?" he said, his voice calm but carrying the weight of all the unasked questions. Claire looked down at her hands. "I didn't know where else to go," she whispered. I just wanted to see her. Please." Daniel's heart ached, torn between his protective instincts for Emma and the faint memory of the woman he once loved. He thought about the nights Emma had cried herself to sleep asking why her mom never came back, the birthdays that passed with only his face in the family photos. But he also saw the pain in Claire's eyes, raw, real, and full of regret. He stepped aside. "She's asleep, but you can come in." The warmth of the living room hit Claire like a wave, and she paused for a moment to take in the simple, tidy space. Emma's drawings were taped on the fridge, and her little shoes were neatly lined by the door. Claire's lips trembled as she looked at the life she had missed. Daniel brought her a cup of tea, and they sat across from each other at the small kitchen table. At first, the silence was unbearable. Then Claire began to talk. She told him about the dark place she had been in when she left, about the mistakes she made, about the way she thought Emma would be better off without her. She spoke with a voice that cracked often, but she never looked away from his eyes. Daniel listened. He didn't interrupt. And though part of him wanted to cling to the anger he had carried for years, something inside him began to soften. Maybe it was the sincerity in her voice, or maybe it was the simple truth that everyone makes mistakes they can't undo. Only try to fix. When she finally finished, her hands shook as she asked the one question she feared most. "Do you think she'll ever forgive me?" Daniel glanced toward the couch where Emma slept, her face lit by the soft glow of the lamp. "She's a child," he said quietly. "She doesn't understand everything yet, but she loves deeply. If you show her you're here to stay, she might not only forgive you, she might welcome you." Tears slipped down Claire's cheeks. "I'll try. I'll do whatever it takes." That night, Claire slept on the armchair across from Emma, not wanting to miss a moment. In the morning, Emma woke to find her mother's face for the first time in years. There was a pause, a blink of confusion, and then, unexpectedly, Emma climbed into her mother's lap and wrapped her arms around her. Daniel stood in the doorway, watching. It wasn't a perfect reunion, and the road ahead would be difficult, but it was a start. And sometimes that's all people need, a start. As the morning light poured through the window, melting the frost on the glass, Daniel realized that life had just given them all a second chance. And in that moment, forgiveness felt warmer than any fire.